Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha, and we are back with Love is Blind episode 6. I don't have to say if you are new here, I don't have to say welcome, because you're already welcome and you're already here, honey, because you're over on Patreon or you're a member of my channel. So child, let's get into it. Natalie and Shane. So they're sitting on the couch, and Natalie is saying that she's glad that they worked things out, because y'all remember he left her on the beach eating her filet mignon all by herself, okay, because she wouldn't give the compliments that needed to be given. So she's saying that she realizes that she's stubborn. He's like, you're just realizing that? She's like, yeah, I wouldn't just describe myself as stubborn. So he tells her to promise that she'll never leave him. And she was like, you promise you'll never leave me? He said, I won't. Well, honey, if Shaina has anything to do with it, he will. Moving forward. So as they're eating dinner, he's like, so you're my best friend. She's like, no, you're mine. He's like, am I? What are you wearing over there? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I could not resist. But no, she was like, yeah. So he's just smiling. She's like, no, seriously. Here you go. I love you. Shane, I'm sure you do, because she's feeding your ego. I'm sorry, but best friend this and I love you that, honey, already? I mean, I guess when you know, but it just seems a little bit too soon for me. Like, I feel like we had one episode in a commercial break and we're back as BFFs and in love. It's giving infatuation. It's giving, I'm in this bubble, and as soon as this bubble bursts, then I'm going to know who you are, you're going to know who I am, and I ain't going to like you and you ain't going to like me. That's what it's giving to me. But I'm just a child, but that's just me. Moving forward. So they're talking about the wedding, and Shane is trying to wear a penguin suit. He's like, let me just wear a tux cape. She's like, what is a tux cape? So he's trying to explain it to her. She's like, this is not Bridgerton. I thought that was so funny, because I can definitely see Shane in one of them tuxes, child, a whole fool. Shane and Deepti. Shane and his sister Deepti, they're eating dinner, honey, because that's exactly what they give, okay? They give BFF and sister and brother realness. And she's telling him that her mom was manifesting an Indian man. And she was like, no, Mom, I'm not going to be doing that. Like, it's not happening. But she ended up with Shake. He was like, you're trying to mess up the manifestation? Okay. So they talking about stuff that don't really matter. So then they have this little fun argument about palate cleansers and soy sauce, because she was thinking that you shouldn't mix the two. And he was like, well, ginger is a palate cleanser. And she's like, no, it's not. So he was like, well, let me hop on the Googler. So they make this bet. The loser has to plan a fun date night. They hop on the Googler, and Deeps was wrong, so she has to plan a date. Moving forward. Danielle and Nick. Over at Nick and Danielle's, they're getting into bed. So they start talking about what's ahead for them in their relationship. So she's telling him that she's always in her head, and is. And they're talking about failure in relationships. And Nick said, well, we can write our own story. It's seeming like a horror story. It's giving Nightmare on Elm Street. It's giving Fred Krueger. It's giving dun, 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 dun. It's giving Halloween. This relationship is scary. Honey, it's a Wes Craven's new nightmare. This is some scary Do y'all hear me? So then Nick is like, you know what? If you have any hesitations, then just tell me. Please don't give her the green light, because it's an hour show, Nick. Okay, so please do not give her the green light to start talking about things that really don't matter, because we'll be here all night, honey. I got things to do and people to see. Jared and Ayanna. They get to Jared's bachelor pad, and she immediately starts looking for signs of another woman, and she ain't fooling me. I'm like, girl, why are you in the cabinets? So she all in the cabinets and whatnot, going all through them. And she's like, why you got so many shot glasses? He's a party boy. Shots, honey. He drinks shots for breakfast, girl. So he's like, you're going through everything. She sure is. So I hope there is not any foolishness up and through his apartment. So try to get to his room, and it looks like a teenage boy threw up all over it. There's a freaking mattress on the floor. Well, not exactly just a mattress, but as big as Jared is, why do you have this little bitto bed on the floor? Child, not a footrail, not nothing. Just a bed on the floor. That's why you want a man, so she can get him off the floor. Child, I wish a man would bring me back to his place to get it popping, and I see this cot on the floor. And you big too? Oh, no, ma'am. Oh, no, ma'am, honey. I would have been like, what in the hell is this cot? Who in the hell left the gate open? Child, I would politely get up, say, you know what? I forgot I had an early morning. Better yet, I wouldn't even give an excuse. I would be like, what is this? I'm not going to be able to do this, honey. I ain't been on the floor since college. Moving forward. So Ayanna is steady searching, and she's like, so who got you this? It has your initials. He's like, who got me that? Anytime a man has to use a question to answer a question, they need time to think of the lie. Okay, I know this from experience. So he asked her that. She was like, yeah. So he couldn't think of the lie fast enough, honey. He couldn't come off the top of the dome. So he tells her it was a birthday gift from an ex. He's like, it's a watch holder. She said, it's still a gift and it's personalized. So that means it meant something to you and to her. Child, it really meant something to him because he kept it. So in her little interview thing, she's like, I don't believe in keeping anything from an ex. Nothing. And see, this is the thing. I am sure that he would feel away if she was wearing something or had something from an ex. Men are not as forgiving as women. They can sit there and talk all that stuff all they want to. Oh, I wouldn't be jealous. I wouldn't be worried about that. Wear a chain around your neck that came from another man. Wear a ring on your finger that came from another man. Wear a pair of pants that came from another man. Take them to a restaurant that you went to with another man and see how quickly the tables turn. Child, he ain't fooling me. Moving forward. So she continues to say, she's like, I don't believe in being friends with an ex. And the fact that he has this is just weird. Yeah, that would have to go. Like if I were in her shoes and we're getting married, like it's got to go. I will purchase you another watch holder. Okay, you're going to have to let that go. Now, that might be an unpopular opinion. And some people may be like, well, it's a gift from an ex. It's okay. Like, it's just a watch holder. It's not the actual ex. I don't care if it's the ex holding the watch. All of it got to go. You, her, and the watch. Moving forward. So she's like, I've already seen how he is with Mal, so it just bothers me a little bit. Oh, honey, this ain't it. What did I tell y'all? I do not like him for her. I don't like it. She looks sad behind the eyes. And also, Ayana, if you got to do all this digging, honey, that means that you don't trust him. And that really bothers me that it bothers you so much. You need to let that go. You don't feel secure in this relationship ever since you realized that he spoke to Mal before he spoke to you and proposed to you. And when you find out you wearing that girl's ring, oh, baby, she gonna come to her knees. She's like, if I see more things, then, I'm just going to be like, what is going on? So then she was like, do you have pictures? Here he go. Of what? The way he answered that means that ex got a picture in there somewhere, honey. It's a picture on the phone. It's a picture somewhere in that apartment with that ex, honey. And he ain't fooling me. It's a picture somewhere in there of that ex. I'm pretty sure of it. The way he answered that told me everything I needed to know. So she's like, of you. So he shows her his 8th grade picture and they start talking about football. And she says she doesn't want her son to play football, which I understand because the concussion of it all, I'm feeling the same way. I'm really hoping my son will play baseball because, baseball is really a great, sport and they get paid the most. Child, I'm trying to retire. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be doing reviews forever. That's just a side note. So anywho, they're talking about that. He's like, so when we getting started? She said, well, I told you that we're going to revisit that in a year. He's like, well, you really want to revisit it in like 3 years, but my clock is ticking. I can't wait to have kids. Sir, you sleep on the flow. Kids are not on the agenda, or they should not be. Child, you and the baby sleeping on the floor together. Him in the crib and you in this mattress. Absolutely not. So then she looks at him and she goes, is that why you almost chose Mal? Oh, honey, Baby, Jer Bear and Mal got Sal and Ayana insecure as hell, and I don't like that. She's like, I feel like he was going to choose her because she's more established and she can just have kids. Okay, Ayana, you should have never accepted that proposal because she's going to forever be comparing herself to Mal and wondering if she was second when she really knows that she was second. And this right here just proves it. You should not have accepted that proposal. He's like, no. No what? Elaborate on the no. No, I chose you because. He just looked at her and goes, no. I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it at all. She's like, I wonder what's the difference between us. He lying, girl. He wanted Mal because she has a house and she has a real bed and she is his type. I said what I said and I ain't changing it. That's exactly why he chose Mallory at first. But then when she decided to choose Salvador, then Mike went in there talking, well, don't forget you have Ayana. And he got through crying, wiped his tears, and chose you. Girl, the fact that she's sitting here wondering the difference is a huge red flag. And I really feel sad for her. I really do. Kyle and Shaina. So Shaina has convinced herself that Kyle needs to meet her family so she can have more clarity. For what? You just want your family to co-sign so you can blame walking away on your family not supporting Kyle. And girl, you really think we're dumb. Anywho, she's such a coward. So she introduces him to her mom and her dad. So the brothers are there. And one of the brothers asks Kyle to tell him something real. He's like, why do you want to marry Shaina? He said, so nobody else gets her? I mean, well, it's the truth. He said, do you want to marry her or do you just want to get married? He said, I want to marry her. She's like, I left him in Mexico. She said that like it was no biggie. She is so disrespectful. But Kyle let her do it, so, I mean, it's really not too much I can say about Shaina. If you are going to allow her to disrespect you, then let her disrespect you, child, and there's nothing I can do about it. This family is so weird to me. They are so weird. Even Shaina looks weird in the real world. Like, everything about them just looks weird. Her dad and her brothers look like they carry around rifles, and the mom looks like, I just don't know, child. It was giving weird. So they're asking some questions, and he said, so is there a ring? She's like, yeah, but it doesn't fit, so I wear it on my thumb. And that is not the reason that ring is on your thumb. That is not it. So then they asked if he was a godly man. He's like, what? Child, act like they were speaking in tongues. They asked if you knew G-O-D. Do you or don't you? So he said, no, I don't. I don't know God. So the dad looked at Kyle, child, like he had two heads. That's when I knew it was over, honey. For real, for real. When that daddy gave Kyle that look, I was like, oh, honey, it ain't no coming back from that. So her mom said, she's like, I like Kyle, but I'm not going to be able to give Shaina my blessing. Well, honey, don't threaten her with a good time. Danielle and Nick. They go to visit Danielle's family. They seem very warm and welcoming. Her mom was like, you have a very kind face. That's what she told Nick. So Nick starts to tell them that he and Danielle, they really connected on not wanting to get divorced because they come from divorced families. So her mom goes, Danielle is a very special person. Well, honey, that ain't no lie. Nick goes, I noticed. Nick is messy boots. Oh, Nick's so messy, honey. And I live every time he get messy. She said, I just really want my daughter to have someone special. And I feel like Nick is genuine. I believe that you can fall in love with someone quickly. I really do like her mom's personality. You definitely can fall in love with somebody quickly because I've done it. Did it last? Nope. Would I take my time going forward? Absolutely. Moving forward. So Nick goes fishing with the guys while Danielle is back there helping her mom. Nick trying to catch a fish and literally looking like a fish out of water. Meanwhile, Danielle's mom is like, I think he's really, really good for you. Girl, you just want Danielle married off. Mama, you don't even know Nick yet. What do you know about him? I think he's really, really good for you. You've had a kitchen conversation, and that's about it. Girl, goodbye. She looked just like her mama. So I take it Danielle is naturally a blonde because I was looking at the rest of the family, and I'm like, everybody here is blonde. But I can't imagine Danielle being blonde. That dark hair really suits her. Her eyes and everything, it just gives her a more polished look. I think she looks really pretty with dark hair. So they sit down and eat, and mom hops right in and tells Nick that Danielle tends to jeopardize relationships. Yes, she's a self-sabotage relationship expert. Honey, she needs to put that in her Instagram bio. So her mom was like, yeah, she's just like me. When I want my husband closer, that's when I push him away. But, when the going gets tough, don't you get going. Okay, because we're going to need y'all to stick around. We're going to need you to stick around for Danielle. Baby mama is making sure Danielle keep that man. Stay and fight it out, she said. She said, and make things work. And she know her daughter a handful. So then her stepdad is like, yeah, and a healthy sexual relationship matters as well. I don't know, y'all. That just creeped me out. So why are you talking about their sex life? Like, that just really that really made my stomach turn a little bit. He's like, it's a necessity. Okay, creepy McCreeperson. We know it's a necessity, but we don't want to talk about it. And we don't want to talk about it with you. So then her brother is like, oh, okay, so how sexually active are you guys? Okay, child, I'm done. Because what? Like, just no. No. That has nothing to do with you, and it's none of your business. Nick is like, I was raised in a Catholic home, and we were a little bit more reserved. I could never talk about sex with my parents. Absolutely not. I mean, some people can, but grown or not, I will not, and I cannot. Child, I wanted them to think my son was brought to me by the stork. You think I'm going to sit down and talk to my parents about me busting it wide open? Absolutely not. Natalie and Shane. They go to Natalie's place. It's just how I thought it would be. Very clean and crisp. I liked her apartment. It was very nice. So she said, the experiment worked for them, and everything about Shane makes her feel at home. She's like, Shane is so good looking. He's really not, girl, but you're marrying him and not me, so set yourself off. So she's showing him around, and they decide they need a 2-bedroom because Shane is too big to fit up in this one. And she thinks they need to try and buy a place because she's financially ready. He, on the other hand, is like, yeah, I got to look at it because, I spend like $2,000 a month on food. What are you eating? Solid gold? $2,000 a month on food? Boy, that's crazy. She's like, okay, so we can't do that, okay? And we need to talk about money. We need to talk about what we're going to do, how we're going to do our 401k. He's like, yeah, I don't believe in that. Translation, I don't have one or have any money to start one. I have not saved for retirement. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants and hoping that I don't get old. Honey, I think I'm going to be young forever. That's exactly what that translates to. That right there is a major red flag to me. Marriages break up over finances. We're going to have to be financially responsible. I know it's hard adulting. We don't want to do it. I know I don't. Because, honey, sometimes I still feel 18 years old. But at the same time, if you're going to have kids and you're going to leave them anything, then you're going to need to have a plan in place. He's like, we just need to take risk. We can't just buy a house and have a 401k. Well, why not, Shane? What are you wearing over there? I'm sorry I have to say it ever so often. Oh, honey, that is his catchphrase. She actually said that was okay, though. She was like, that's okay, because my mom's the breadwinner in my family, and so my dad mostly raised me. And Shane reminds me of my dad, and if our relationship is half as good as theirs, then we'll have a good marriage. Well, honey, to each its own. 18 days until the wedding, Mal and Sal. So Sal takes her to go meet his sisters. His sisters were so sweet. I was like, their whole family seems so sweet. But where are the parents? I really do wonder that. Because as I was watching the other episodes, Mal's parents were not present either. Okay, that's just a side note. They're like, oh my God, we just saw the ring. Whoa, we're blind. Child, not the ring Mal felt slighted by. So she's like, yeah, he did such a great job. Child, she's so fake. So he's like, yeah, I really felt bad because I had already decided on the ring. And then I talked to her and she said she wanted gold. Don't feel bad, Sal. Y'all were strangers. Okay? You gave her a beautiful ring. Honey, I would take it. Dip it in gold. Honey, I don't know what you got to do, but I wouldn't feel bad about the ring that I chose. Moving forward. She's like, well, I absolutely love it. I'm sure you do. So then they start talking about the experience, and Sal brings up how hard it was when they were both interested in some other people. So the sisters were like, well, did that happen with the two of you? Did it? She said, yeah. So Mal was trying to play it off. But the sisters were like, okay, girl, spill it. Okay, let's get into it. If we're going to get into it, what else happened? Like, what happened? She's like, well, it was between Sal and this other person. Sal said, who is the other person? She's like, stop playing. I hate you. You're crazy. She's like, okay, it was a guy named Jared. Honey, that ain't take long. She was like, but, he felt a lot more strongly about me than I did about him. Did he? Girl, quit lying. You fell for Jared Bear just like he felt for you. And it was all that serenading that Sal did that actually sealed the deal for him. Because had he not been singing, you would have never ended up with Sal. And that's that on that. Moving forward. The sisters actually bought the cockamamie story, and so we're moving on. So his sisters were really speaking very highly of Sal and saying such great things, honey, as they should. And they asked Mal if she's serious about being married. So she gives the standard answer of, I only want to do this once. And I don't take this lightly at all. I really care about Sal. Girl, you're just going through the motions. We shall see, because it's easier said than done. His sisters gave 2 thumbs up, Danielle and Nick. So they're going for a walk. And they start talking about her family. And it's time for their argument of the day. Danielle can't go a day without an argument. Not one. Not one day. I think she's so afraid that this just might work that she's doing every little thing that she can to turn him off and push him away. And it might work because it's self-sabotage 101. So then she starts fussing about him not having the same level of excitement about meeting her family as she did. And she's wondering if he has the right intentions. Danielle, stop. Him not skipping to his loo to the car after meeting your family does not mean that he isn't into you. Yes, you want your fiance to love your family, but you are 2 different people. You can't say that he's not serious because he brought up his friends over the fish that he caught. Child, this is crazy. So he's like, well, here's the thing. There were things that happened with my family yesterday. She's like, the day of you meeting my family? Danielle, the world does not stop because he met your family. Yes, on the national holiday that was him meeting your family, something happened to him as well. Child, that is so selfish of her. He's like, I'm sorry I ruined it. I'm not fucking around, okay? She's like, well, I know. I just felt like then you were being fake. He said, do you ever think that maybe the world does not revolve around you? You tell her, Nick. She is so self-absorbed sometimes. She always tries to twist things around, and then he has to apologize for it. This is how this marriage is going to go, so I hope he knows that, and that is going to be exhausting. She is exhausting. Deeps and Shay. He goes to meet her family. Her family was so adorable, and mom was very excited to see an Indian man, honey. So they ask him a few questions. Then they have dinner, and her mom was talking about how Deeps and, her dad has always been there for her, and, he's done so much to actually take care of her and take care of the family. And I thought that was so sweet. I love loyal love, honey. I love it. I really love a successful love story. I'm sure they had some ups and downs or whatever, but she was getting sentimental and whatnot, and it kind of choked me up a little bit. They really embraced Shake, and he said that after seeing her family, it shows that they're really similar, and he finds that Deeps is a great girl. He is so confusing to me. Okay, in one breath, he likes her and can see a future. In the next breath, she's like his aunt. Like, I actually want to see these two make it. Seeing them around the table, it was really special. And I feel like the two of them can really build something special if Shake would get out of his own head and stop being so superficial. Child, Kyle and Shaina. So they go for a walk on the pier. And she finally tells him what we've all been waiting for. So as they're walking, he's like, so what do you think? I really enjoyed meeting your family. Child, he doing all this talking. He was like, I think we should move in together. Kyle, are you present? Her family was looking at you like you were part alien. They don't like you. What are you saying? He's like, I can't marry you without living with you. She's like, oh, okay. I can do you one better. I can't marry you. Child, this is a fool. This is a whole fool. Finally, I am so happy she told him. She's like, I just need a man with the same faith. He's like, I thought we got past that. It's 2022. I don't care what it is, Kyle. She can't get past it. He's like, I was willing to compromise. So then he starts asking her how long she felt like this. She was like, well, I felt like this from the beginning. He's like, so you were basically playing in my face. Like, you should have never accepted my proposal. You should have never continued with me. And it feels like you've been lying to me this whole time. And has. He said, the fact that you don't want to make it work is some bullshit. Okay. She's like, well, I'm wearing your mother's ring and I don't want to seem like a fake. Girl, not the ring that's on your thumb. You are wearing that ring like a pimp wears a pinky ring. That's not an engagement, honey. Unless it's on your left hand and it's actually on your finger, engaged you are not. You've been walking around like Tom Thumb wearing this ring. Girl, shut up. She ultimately told him it was over and she walked away. Kyle, even though you don't believe in God, that was a blessing, okay? It was a blessing in disguise because this woman wants someone that is not you. Granted, she said it had something to do with the religion, but I don't think that was fully what it was. I think she just wants someone other than Kyle. She was not attracted to Kyle. Shaina, do not. I'm speaking directly to you, honey. Do not accept another proposal. You runaway bride. Stop doing that. And Kyle, go give your mama that ring back and leave it in her drawer, okay? Don't get it out of there no more. Moving forward, Danielle and Nick. So she walks in and it's time to place all the blame on Nick. Child, this is a fool. So he's like, hey. She's like, hey. He said, okay, so last night didn't go well. She's like, I just feel like we both said some things that we shouldn't have. So he's pausing for a minute. He's like, but you called me a narcissist. She's like, yeah, but you said the world revolved around me. Because you act like it does. Girl, those are not the same level of insults. That's like me saying, oh, your shoes are ugly. And then somebody saying back to me, that's why your parents divorced and you were raised by a single mom who had to work 2 jobs and you didn't even have lights on sometime and no food on the table. Like, wow, easy there, killer. Like, those 2 things are not the same. You called him a narcissist. You said you don't trust him. Girl, what is wrong with you? Child, anyway. So then he proceeds to tell her that he wasn't trying to attack her. He just had some things going on that day. She's like, meeting my family was very important. Danielle, we got it. We got it. We get it. He said, oftentimes I don't feel like I'm even a part of my family. I feel like they forget about me. So being a part of your family is important to me. And you know that. I wish I would have just never said the world revolves around you. Why are you taking that back when you meant it, Nick? It is okay to let Danielle know everything is not always going to be about her. Both of you are in this relationship, and if you start that mess now, she's going to expect you to always take the blame for everything. I hate how she breaks him down till he apologizes. Now he's standing there with his head hanging down. This is just a mess. She's like, I just really love Nick. This is what she's saying in her confessional. But I'm just noticing some differences in communication styles, and they're really causing issues. No, you're causing issues. Stop the foolishness already. So Nick is steady apologizing. She starts crying, per usual, but no apology to him was given. I think she likes to argue so she can make up because it makes her feel like he cares. Child, that's going to get old real quick. This cycle is very dangerous. Y'all going to keep going around and around and around until somebody gets off the merry-go-round. In the next scene, all the singles meet at the beach. Ayana is like, oh my gosh, Mal is happy as a lamb. She gets to lay her eyes on Jer Bear. Baby, then Shaina and her hat come traipsing through. Shane trying not to look and Natalie making sure he don't look. So Natalie tells us that she was having a conversation with Shaina, right? Shaina said she was just checking in. Sure she was. So she told her that her and Shane were doing okay. She's like, everything's been going good between the two of us. And Shaina said that, okay, girl, well, if it doesn't work out, I can always hook you up with somebody else. Shaina is a dangerous woman. She will literally put you in situations so that she can take your man. If I'll take your man were a person, it would be Shaina. Natalie could not leave Shane's side, honey, but Nick is on the job, getting ready to stir the pot. Group events are his jam. Every time they get to a group event, it's time for some mess. So he goes over to Shaina, and he's like, Natalie is nuts. I was trying to talk to Shane, but she just wouldn't go away. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, because she's insecure right now. Very insecure, because Shane was my number one. Okay, he might have been your number one, but he's marrying Natalie. So what else is going on, honey? Get over yourself. So Nick is like, there's so much to unpack. Nick, oh, mess itself. Nick is a mess box. So Shaina is like, I took a back seat because Natalie was so loud that she was in love with Shane and he was in love with her. I didn't let Shane know how I felt. By this time, Danielle is over there because, honey, she got to keep her eye on Shaina, honey, and I don't blame her. So Nick said, but you told him though, right? She's like, yeah, I finally told him how I felt about him. So Shane is like, we had deep conversations and I just want to know, what do they talk about? Like, I seriously want to know, what do the two of them talk about? Girl, what did y'all talk about? And what is deep about him asking about your outfit of the day? Please fill me in. Sounds like you're the bitter, insecure one to me. So Nick is like, well, I asked, but she was staring like she didn't want him to say anything, like she was going to cut his throat if he actually told me. She's like, okay, look, y'all. They're coming and they're holding hands. Of course they're holding hands. They're a couple. They're engaged. I know you hate to see it. Moving forward. Shane was just bucking them eyes, honey. He had to get over there. He sat Natalie down on the sand and walked right on over. She's like, I just feel like I lost something that I could have had with Shane. Something that was very special. So he comes over. He's like, hi. She's like, hi, nice to meet you. Well, Shane, you can finally see what she's wearing over here, honey. Crop top included, just for you. So Shane is like, I want to talk. I just want to clear some things up. So they go over to a spot on the beach alone. So Natalie is standing there, her girls, and they looking. I don't like this little cozy spot that y'all made for yourselves. I don't like this. I don't like when they do this. So they go sit down. So Natalie is watching, and she's like, I need to just check myself. Yeah, Natalie, don't even worry about it, girl. Just check yourself before you wreck yourself. These two look like they're on a romantic picnic. Okay, I'm seeing chemistry that I don't like to see. So he's like, so how's Kyle? She's like, oh, we broke up. Baby, she was happy to say that. And Kyle never reappeared again. I know that's right. Kyle be done with this show. You are too good for it. So she said, so what are you wearing? He's like, Tom Ford. I guess it was her turn to ask, what are you wearing over there? Tom Ford smells so good too. That's just a side note. Shane does not look like he smells like Tom Ford, but if he say he wearing it, then he wearing it. So they talking. They start talking about wardrobes and whatnot. Child, y'all just get to it. Let's get into it if we're going to get into it. So Shane is like, so why are you trying to find Natalie a boyfriend? She's like, who told you this? Girl, just answer the question. She's like, okay, so your fiance, she told you something. So explain what she said. Girl, not you said his ex trying to speak it into existence, and you ain't fooling me. So he tells her what Natalie said, right? And she's like, just taken out of context. Like, let's just call Natalie. I'll call her out. Call her out? She took it the way you said it, you little conniving hussy. That's exactly the way you said it. It's exactly the way she took it. So she said, okay, I'll go ahead and be honest with you. I said it, but it was a joke. Like, it was simply a joke. Girl, please. She's like, it was stupid. I should have never said it. I was with Kyle. Like, I have no vendetta against you and Natalie. 5 minutes prior to that. Oh, yeah, she's insecure because Shane was my number one. But you don't have a vendetta against Natalie and Shane being together. Okay, girl. So she's like, are you bored in your relationship that you got to throw me in there? Baby, don't flatter yourself. Please don't. He's like, I'm only going off of what I was told. She's like, y'all don't talk? He's like, no, why would we talk about you? She's like, oh, don't you think that's a red flag? No, you're a red flag, a walking red flag. The flag is of the flags. She was like, if you were mine, I would be like, do you like this bitch or what? Really? It's funny how you got all this mouth now, but in the pods, it was crickets. And Natalie came and took your man. So therefore, and thus and such, don't nobody want to hear what you would say and what you could say, because you can't say, because you ain't going to say, because they get married. And that's that on that. Child, some women would rather focus on what's in front of them and not their man's past. Shout out to Ayana. She's like, obviously, I'm an issue and I'm mad because this is some BS. So then she tells Shane that he was her number one. And baby, that's all she had to tell Shane. He started shining that Gary Busey grin of his. She's like, why are you smiling? Don't look at me, I'm shy. He's like, you're not shy. All he wants is compliments. Natalie, you better come on over here, honey, because something ain't looking right. Shane is like, sorry about you and Kyle. She's like, we broke up. So they started laughing. So then she tells him how her mom wasn't feeling Kyle. And then she gonna say, my dad, he was like, why does Shane keep popping up? I don't think your dad said Shane's name at all. I really don't. He barely even spoke. This last ditch effort is actually pathetic. It really is. Regardless of the fact he's with Natalie, and you need to have some respect for that. And Shane, you need to create some boundaries. You sitting a little bit too close for me and a little bit too long. So then she says, I just want the best for you. I just feel like I'm being painted out to be the villain in between your fake ass relationship. No offense. Girl, some taken. Okay, some taken. She's like, it is a fake relationship. He's like, you think it's fake? She's like, yeah, and it's such a joke. Like, it comes down to our compatibility. And I will tell anybody this. You and Natalie, if you think that y'all are compatible, that is comical. I mean, time will reveal the truth. It really will. Okay, Shane, this is your cue to leave. Okay? Don't let her talk down about your fiance this way. If you really care about Natalie, you should have said, Shaina, I understand that you and I were not together because of unforeseen circumstances, but I'm happy with my choice. So I really don't appreciate you speaking down on Natalie this way. But instead, he just sat there with his teeth bucked out grinning because she was giving him compliments. And that was the end of episode 6. Baby, I had to hear up and bring y'all episode 6 so I can get into episode 7. This is a whole fool. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about Shane and Shaina having an intimate conversation, because it was very much so intimate. Y'all tell me what y'all felt about Ayana feeling insecure about the fact that Jer Bear was going to choose Mal because she had a bed that was not a cot. And y'all tell me what y'all thought about Deeps and Shake actually sitting down with her family. I thought they looked wonderful as a collective. It was really nice to see. And child, Kyle and Chunk the deuces, so it ain't much to say there. I will catch y'all in the next one. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.